When I was about 8 years old, my dad is a musician, and I grew up listening to him and playing with him. And when I was about 8 years old, he gave me a book, and he told me to just write. He said, just write whatever you feel, and maybe one day you'll write a song, maybe one day you'll write a book. And I just started writing like really terrible poetry, and those things that I wrote down eventually became songs. And my first album I recorded when I was 16, and it was one of the scarier, weirdest things I've ever done, but it just kind of propelled the creative process. It was a good way to get my name out there and start singing in public and at venues and being paid for it, and it was a really cool thing for me, and I just kind of kept doing it. So,
yeah, I mean, you got to keep doing what you love to do.
I love it, yeah. The songwriting process is, the writing process, the songwriting process is my favorite part of being a musician, but then of course I love to play live to a great audience, so I'm looking forward to that.
And then, so your dad plays with you and he sings with you, he plays a guitar and harmonica.
He does.
Did he teach you how to play? Or
He
did
taught
you
me a little bit. I mean, we're both the same animal. We don't read music, we just kind of sit in our, I think that's how we learn to play. You sit in your basement and you play along to the songs that you love and you teach yourself. And he just gave me a guitar, taught me a few chords, and I just shut myself in the winters. And on the ranch, 30 miles from anything, you have a lot of time and space to create, and so that's where I learned. But really, guitar was a supplement to my songwriting. I wanted to learn to play so I could write songs.
So do you like when people are out in the audience dancing, singing to your music, or just
anything?
Everything?
You always love a captive audience because my music is about the lyrics and about the story, and I love to engage and talk about where I'm coming from. But if they're drinking wine and laughing and enjoying themselves, that's great too, So I just want people to come. I want ears to listen and to sway along and to enjoy it.
And so you write songs, and then you also write a column for the Forum, which runs every Sunday.
Yes.
And so you kind of in the whole span of that, and you also do photography.
Yeah. And
you play the guitar. I mean, how do you have time to do all of that? And you have another job besides that, right?
It's so complicated. But really, I think the bottom line is I get inspired by the places that I live and the places I visit, and I'm just a creative person, and I like to look at things in different ways, and that's where music and writing in the column comes in. Being able to observe your life and see it through different eyes every day, see it in the way that you might tell someone, and that's really been an important thing for me personally. It really helps me grow, and then that's where the photography comes in and the music, and so I'm only happy when I'm creating, right? And so I find time to do it, and it's kind of like breathing for me. So.
You've really been able to balance everything really well. I mean, you're married, you live back home, but you're still doing what you love. So what is the best advice that you can give someone who still has those dreams but is scared to go out into bigger places, and how can you reach your dreams being where you are?
Yeah, that's a really good question that I've tried my whole life, and I don't think I've nailed it yet, but every day I wake up and I kind of take the advice of my husband when we moved back to the ranch. I was in a job I did, that was 9 to 5, it wasn't very creative, and we moved back to the ranch, and I said, what am I going to do? I have to work, I'm nervous about being in my hometown again, and I don't want to screw this up, we want to be here for a long time. And he said, Jessie, you don't have to get back to work right now. You need to do what you love to do. And that's something that not everyone has an opportunity to do. I could take a month off or something like that and just do what I wanted to do and write. But I think, and that's what I wanted to do, write and get back into music. And he gave me that opportunity to do that. But advice for someone who has maybe a passion outside of maybe their 9 to 5 job is to just put that in your life. Like, put it in your life after work, put it in your life in the morning. Do things that you used to love to do when you were like 10 years old. That's what I did when I moved back to the ranch. I slid down gumbo hills, and I ran in the woods, and I picked wildflowers, and I found myself again. And I think that was the key for me to remember what 10-year-old Jessie loved about living. And then I dug around for a little bit and I found her. And it might be music and it might be baseball, but whatever it is, I think that helps you get to the next level.